Run now if you can. Mass exodus of Chinese tycoons. Over 600,000 people leave overnight. Hundreds of billions in wealth transferred abroad. The secret of Xi Jinping's billion-dollar family, all have emigrated abroad, owning a vast fortune. Only Xi remains in China to accumulate wealth. Denouncing capitalism is the party line, but living in capitalist countries is the goal. More than 70% of CCP officials have their children, spouses, and assets overseas. 4.7 million CCP officials convicted of corruption. Shocking secrets of their rapid wealth accumulation revealed. Why did Beijing's tariff war retreat so quickly? Scholars. Protests erupting across China. Dissatisfied with being squeezed out of supply chains, CCP criticizes US-UK trade agreement. This is New Century, dedicated to bringing clarity, truth, and perspective to today's world. Run now if you can. Mass exodus of Chinese tycoons. Over 600,000 people leave overnight. Hundreds of billions in wealth transferred abroad. With China's economic downturn, many middle-class families are burdened with mortgage debts and facing unemployment, trapped in difficulties. Shanghai residents are in the same boat, with housing prices plummeting. Amid worsening political and economic conditions in China, coupled with the Western free world's containment of the CCP, a large number of Chinese tycoons have emigrated in recent years, taking hundreds of billions of dollars with them. One person lamented, "Unable to endure the intense competition, people from Beijing and Shanghai are collectively emigrating. Over 600,000 have left. Residents of Beijing and Shanghai are applying for emigration in droves. Among them, around 10,000 people from Shanghai have emigrated abroad, taking 68 billion yuan, approximately 9.43 billion USD with them. Recently, European embassies and consulates released visa application data. Why are they emigrating? First, the intense competition in China is severe, and the dual-cycle economy is still developing. Some people are under too much pressure and want a fresh start for themselves and their children. Others have chosen countries like the UK, Ireland, and Malta, mainly to address their children's education. With residency status, their children can attend local public schools, saving millions in tuition fees. Children graduating from these countries can also attend the UK's G5 universities, US Ivy League schools, or return to China to take the Overseas Chinese Student Entrance exam, where a score of 400 can secure admission to a 211 university. Some people also emigrate for freedom of travel or business reasons, not wanting to waste time repeatedly applying for visas. According to Japan's Immigration Bureau, as of June 2023, 760,000 Chinese people have settled in Japan, many of whom are from Shanghai. Why are Shanghai residents so fond of Japan? A Shanghai friend living in Osaka explained. On one hand, Japanese properties have permanent ownership and no shared area deductions, and there are few restrictions on foreigners buying property. On the other hand, now you only need to spend 250,000 yuan, approximately 34,600 US dollars, to register a company in Japan to obtain a business management visa, enjoying the same benefits as locals. Children can attend school for free and adults can get 70% of medical expenses reimbursed. You can retain your original nationality while enjoying Japan's welfare benefits. A win-win situation. One blogger stated, according to data from the Exit Department, in just over a month, tens of thousands of people applied for emigration procedures. What's even more unusual is that 60% of them didn't go to the US or Singapore but chose Turkey instead. You have to admit, Shanghai people have a sharp eye. The cost-effectiveness of Turkish citizenship is incredibly high. By buying a property in Turkey, your entire family, across 4 generations, can obtain European residency. Against the backdrop of China's ongoing economic weakness, the number of Chinese billionaires and high-net-worth individuals emigrating has surged in recent years. According to the latest report from Henley and Partners, a British investment immigration consultancy, An estimated 15,000 Chinese individuals with investable assets of $1 million or more transferred their wealth and relocated to other countries in 2024. This figure is up by 1,400 from 2023, setting a new record. China has been the country with the highest outflow of millionaires for 3 consecutive years. When millionaires leave, they often take their wealth with them. According to Henley and Partners' previous statistics, each millionaire takes an average of about $6.6 million in wealth when emigrating. In 2022 and 2023, Chinese tycoons moved approximately $160 billion in wealth to other countries. In recent years, emigration has become a hot topic in Chinese society. Not only do the wealthy want to emigrate, but the middle class also wants to escape. Since August 2020, China's real estate market has entered a sharp decline, one of the main causes of the current economic difficulties. The middle class has been hit hardest, with the property market crash leaving them in despair. One resident complained, "My goodness, a Shanghai couple's house dropped from 14.35 million to 10 million yuan. After selling, they went from being wealthy to middle class in just 3 years." This Mr. Herr Yang's recent rant showed me that even Shanghai's rich can fall into the middle class if they're not careful, with their net worth shrinking and status slipping. For those with idle properties, time is running out. Selling now, though prices have dropped, might still be a high point compared to the next 5 years. In 5 years, houses in cities below the third tier will be practically unsellable. Don't fantasize about prices rising. Stability would already be a win. If you want to sell, do it now. If you want to buy, wait if you can. If you don't buy this year, you might save tens of thousands next year. The secret of Xi Jinping's billion-dollar family: all have emigrated abroad, owning a vast fortune. Only Xi remains in China to accumulate wealth. As China's economy continues to stagnate, unemployment rates keep rising, local governments are heavily indebted, and the Chinese Communist Party, fearing civil unrest, has been imposing increasingly strict control measures under the guise of national security. This has led more and more Chinese citizens and even officials within the system to see the true face of the CCP's tyranny, prompting a growing number of officials and ordinary people to vote with their feet and emigrate abroad. In fact, these people are somewhat late to the realization. Many elite families, including those of Xi Jinping, have already taken the lead, quietly becoming foreign citizens while continuing to amass wealth in China. A video rejecting CCP brainwashing and expressing a desire not to be Chinese went viral online. In the video, 2 young men said they had reached a consensus. They no longer want to be Chinese because being Chinese is too painful. They summarized their reasons, saying, "In terms of economics, the hourly wage for a job in the US cannot be earned in China even after 1 or 2 days of work. No matter how much harder you try, your quality of life cannot catch up. It's not that there's no money, but the money isn't yours. It belongs to the Communist Party. The country is very wealthy, but not a single cent belongs to you. Most of the fruits of your labor are directly taken by the communists, like cutting leaks. Is there free healthcare in China? Yes, there is, but your name isn't on the list. It's for veteran cadres and has nothing to do with you." Secondly, life feels oppressive and stifling. Economically, ordinary people are poor, and politically, the government is extremely controlling. The Communist Party doesn't allow you to complain. If you say a few words, they'll arrest you. Thirdly, they feel deceived. The Communist Party always claims it is good while other countries, especially the US, are bad and Americans live poorly. But when we came abroad and discovered the truth, we grew to hate the Communist Party even more and regretted not leaving sooner. The thing we hate most is that the Communist Party lied to us. The 2 young men also mocked in the video. The families of CCP officials have long fled, leaving only themselves behind to serve as officials and rake in money. They say we're not Chinese. We're learning from the party and following the party. If the Communist Party members and their families collectively immigrated to North Korea, then I'd believe communism is good. However, the 2 young men are clearly set to be disappointed. Not only have CCP officials not immigrated to North Korea, but many have instead moved to Western countries like the US, Canada, and Australia, including the family of CCP General Secretary Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping's daughter, with his current wife Peng Liyuan, Xi Mingze, was revealed to have enrolled at Harvard University in May 2010 for her undergraduate studies. As early as 2011, she reportedly held a U.S. green card and could obtain U.S. citizenship at any time. Xi Jinping's elder sister, Qi Qiaoqiao, is the chairman of Beijing Zhongmingsen Real Estate Development Company Limited, and her husband, Deng Jiagui, is the legal representative of Yuanwei Real Estate Development Company Limited. Both are Canadian citizens. Qi Qiaoqiao's daughter, Zhang Yanan, and son-in-law, Fu Dani, are British citizens. Xi Jinping's second sister, Qi Anyan, holds Australian citizenship and is currently the chairman of Shenzhen Datang Mobile Communications. Her husband, Wu Long, also an Australian citizen, is the chairman of Beijing Xinyutong, general manager of Shenzhen Datang Mobile Communications, and a shareholder of China Rare Earth Holdings Communers Limited. Xi Jinping's younger brother, Xi Yuanping, is also an Australian citizen, and his son, Xi Mingjung, holds a U.S. green card. Xi Jinping's ex-wife, Cai Lingling, the youngest daughter of Chinese diplomat Cai Hua, divorced Xi after 3 years of marriage. Cai Lingling now resides in the UK. Reports suggest that the reason Xi Jinping's family has fled far and wide is linked to his father, Xi Zhongxun. During the Mao era, Xi Zhongxun was brutally persecuted. To protect his family from being implicated, he pretended to be insane, feigning mental instability. After his rehabilitation, Xi Zhongxun was given significant responsibilities. While overseeing Guangdong, he learned about real life in the West, particularly its political conditions and systems, through Guangdong's overseas Chinese community, which shifted his thinking. From then on, he urged his children to go abroad whenever possible, saying that serving the motherland could be done from overseas, but staying in China might lead to political persecution one day, let alone serving the country. Reports suggest that Xi Jinping sending his only daughter to Harvard University may also have been influenced by his father, Xi Zhongxun. Denouncing capitalism is the party line, but living in capitalist countries is the goal. More than 70% of CCP officials have their children, spouses, and assets overseas. Beyond the Xi family, CCP officials with foreign passports, green cards, and overseas properties are ubiquitous. According to online information, the daughter of the late former Premier Li Keqiang is American. The daughter and son-in-law of Wang Yang are American. Han Zheng's son is a New Zealander, and his daughter is Australian. Li Jianshu's son-in-law is Singaporean, and his daughter holds at least a Hong Kong passport. Jiang Zemin's sons, Jiang Mianheng and Jiang Miankang, and grandsons, Jiang Zhicheng and Jiang Zhiyun, are all American. Wang Jieshan's wife, Yao Mingshan, is also American. Chen Yun's son, Chen Yuan, is American. Liu Huaqing's daughter, Liu Chaoying, is also American. Bo Xilai's son, Bo Guagua, has settled in Canada. Zhang Wanian's son, Zhang Jiangguo, resides in the U.S. The above data is just the tip of the iceberg. It is said that at least 60 to 70%, or even more, of the CCP's party, government, and military officials have their children, spouses, or assets overseas, with the vast majority in Western developed countries like Europe, the US, Australia, and Canada. Some observers believe this is also why the CCP will not and dares not attack Taiwan. If they start a war, the wealth they have painstakingly amassed through corruption would be subject to sanctions by Western countries. 4.7 million. CCP officials convicted of corruption. Shocking secrets of their rapid wealth accumulation revealed. Corruption among Chinese Communist Party officials has long been notorious, with sums ranging from hundreds of millions to billions of dollars astounding the world. Xi Jinping has vocally championed anti-corruption since taking office. Over the past decade, 5 million people have been investigated, with 4.7 million convicted, a figure that might seem impressive at first glance. The question everyone wants answered is, How much money have CCP elites amassed? Many reports note that ordinary officials can increase their income 4 to 6 times through bribes, while higher-ranking, more powerful figures likely pocket far more. Although the CCP tightly controls information about its leaders' wealth, as early as 2012, Bloomberg reported that the Xi family held $376 million in overseas corporate investments and an 18% indirect stake in a rare earth mining company valued at $1.73 billion. At that time, Xi was still China's vice president. In 2015, the New York Times revealed that Xi's older sister, Qi Qiao, and her husband, Deng Jiagui, had invested in Wanda Group, owned by China's richest man, Wang Jianlin, back in 2009. In 2019, the Wall Street Journal reported that Xi's cousin, Qi Ming, had gambled away $39 million in Australia in a single year. Even after Xi assumed power and supposedly instructed his family to divest, a 2024 report indicates they still hold substantial commercial and financial interests, likely through proxies. After over a decade of Xi's anti-corruption crusade, it appears he has exposed the fortunes of others while discreetly concealing his own family's wealth. The next intriguing question is, how do corrupt officials quietly collect money? According to the X account of Today Australia app on May 8th, an image titled "How Corrupt Officials Quietly Collect Money" spread across social media. The image summarized officials' corrupt methods in 3 tiers: low, medium, and high. The post was blocked on Weibo, prompting criminal defense lawyer Kai Yaki to ask, "Why has my Weibo post turned out like this today?" A netizen replied, "Because you revealed a heavenly secret." The article, "How Corrupt Officials Quietly Collect Money," divides corrupt officials into 3 tiers. Low tier, cash red envelopes, procurement kickbacks, precious metals, and luxury gift boxes linger unnoticed on the streets and are purchased by whom? What roles do certain officials' brothers-in-law or sisters-in-law play? During holidays, large quantities of non-traceable shopping carts for department stores, supermarkets, and electronics are purchased. Where do these cards go? For example, Li Xinghua, former vice chairman of Sichuan's Ganzi Prefecture CPPCC, was found accepting supermarket cards, high-end teas, and fine liquors, often distributed covertly during holidays or through collective procurement. Additionally, a real estate developer suddenly offers properties at a 90% discount, and you, your wife, or a relative, luckily, secures a purchase slot. Medium tier. Someone unexpectedly establishes a scholarship, and your child is conveniently named an outstanding student, securing admission to an elite private school. A local company goes public, and your brother-in-law or sister-in-law, who was a shareholder before the IPO, sells their shares after valuation. Villas or luxury homes, especially overseas, are used by your wife or children, who have keys and provide renovation suggestions, but the property is legally owned by someone else. For instance, Hubei's former deputy governor Chao Guangjing, ousted in 2022, had a son holding shares in a local energy firm that thrived under favorable policies. High tier, a film with a 500 million yuan investment grosses 400 million, with an investor tied to an offshore company in the X Islands. A cryptocurrency or stock suddenly surges, and holders cash out through a Hong Kong-registered investment firm, tracing back to an offshore company in the X Islands. In Macau, a client suddenly wins tens of millions at a mall. At an auction, a Qing Dynasty Qianlong blue and white porcelain vase sells for 120 million won, with both the buyer and seller being mysterious clients represented by agents. Low-tier officials treat gift receiving as routine, mid-tier officials legalize their gains, and high-tier officials conceal corruption with sophistication. Mr. Peng, a former Hubei real estate businessman, revealed layer upon layer schemes, noting that even the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection struggles to uncover high-level corruption quickly. Senior officials no longer accept cash or gifts, even paying for meals themselves. They don't take your money, houses, or gifts. After retirement, assets held by proxies are transferred to you from a relative's name. You can't see them taking bribes, they don't want anything. Their proxies aren't always relatives, but trusted allies, making it untraceable. I've dined with senior financial leaders. They insist on paying, saying, I'll cover it. It's better that way. Peng noted that while the image lacks legal weight, it holds social observation value, illustrating corruption's evolution from crude to sophisticated, from grassroots to financial, and exposing how technical corruption exploits systemic loopholes. X-users commented widely. User electrician Old Wong quipped, top tier. Aid Africa 50 billion, give 1 billion, the rest goes to Swiss bank accounts. Or lend 50 billion, give 1 billion, pocket the rest, then announce debt forgiveness on state TV. Netizens mocked. They didn't dare mention true high-tier publishing books, African Aid, Belt and Road. Others said regime insiders, public institutions, monopolistic state firms, arrest them all, not one would be wrongly convicted. No need to collect quietly, they're openly corrupt now. Why did Beijing's tariff war retreat so quickly? Scholars. Protests erupting across China. After only brief talks, the US and China quickly reached a temporary agreement in Geneva, Switzerland. Beijing, which had previously insisted it would never negotiate, made rapid concessions, surprising the international community. Recent media reports have revealed the underlying reason: frequent factory protests across China. The effects of Trump's tariffs are just beginning to show, yet they have already left Beijing overwhelmed. According to a recent Radio Free Asia report, multiple incidents of business closures and workers demanding unpaid wages occurred in China during the May Day holiday. Among them, Sengold Optoelectronics Technology Comos Londiti in Wuzhen, Zhejiang, saw a large-scale worker protest erupt before the May Day holiday. Multiple videos uploaded to the X platform account yesterday showed large crowds of employees gathering outside the factory and at the Wuzhen Municipal Government Office, chanting slogans such as, "Give me my wages and I want my wages." Authorities deployed a large number of police equipped with riot gear, intercepting and arresting protesting workers. Additionally, Shenzhen Wiley Xing Toy Company, after losing orders from the U.S. market, abruptly halted production on May 6th. Since then, 400 workers have been protesting for days, demanding back pay. Factory shutdowns, closures, and widespread worker unemployment have become common. The official Chinese Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, dropped to a 16-month low in April. Experts note that the impact of U.S. tariffs is only just beginning to emerge. Trin Nguyen, an economist at Natixis's research department, wrote on the X platform that the threat of losing millions of manufacturing jobs prompted Beijing to negotiate quickly. China's economy is already grappling with a years-long real estate market crisis, high youth unemployment, and weak consumer demand. Nguyen stated, "The pain of tariffs will be felt immediately with the most vulnerable groups hit hardest. This is especially true after years of economic slowdown." She added that the Chinese Communist Party simply cannot endure the pain, though enduring pain is also a strategy. Dissatisfied with being squeezed out of supply chains, CCP criticizes US-UK trade agreement. The UK and the US have reached a trade agreement that includes reducing US tariffs on British car and steel exports, but retains a 10% baseline tariff on British goods. The agreement includes cooperation with US Section 232 investigations to assess whether specific imported goods pose a threat to US national security, which could be used to exclude Chinese products from UK supply chains. Analysts point out that the core of the US-UK trade agreement is the US veto power over Chinese investments. The UK has agreed to grant the US substantial review and veto rights over Chinese investments in the UK, marking not only a significant concession in the UK's economic security policy, but also a precise strike by Trump against the Chinese Communist Party's global expansion. Associate Professor Shen Ming Shi, Institute of International Affairs and Strategic Studies, Tom Kung University, stated, "Trump's strategic goal is, of course, to target China. Therefore, in the agreement between the US and the UK, there are some compromises or agreements prohibiting certain trade or industrial activities between the UK and China. Currently, it seems to focus on cars or steel. We know why Trump is addressing issues like China's origin laundering or transshipment trade, and raising tariffs on some Southeast Asian countries, his goals are the same. Associate Professor Chen Shimin, he believes the US-UK agreement is just the beginning, with the real key lying in Southeast Asian countries. Countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, why were they initially hit with 46% to 49% tariffs by the US? It's clear that the US aims to completely eliminate the feasibility of China's manufacturing industry, evading US tariffs through origin laundering or transshipment trade. This will undoubtedly cause significant damage to China's manufacturing exports. That's why China is protesting so strongly. China is likely very worried that the US-UK agreement could set a precedent, and after this first agreement, other countries' tariff agreements with the US might also adopt the US-UK model. On May 13th, CCP Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian stated at a regular press conference, "Regarding the trade agreement between the UK and relevant countries, I would like to point out that cooperation between nations should not target or harm the interests of third parties." He accused the UK of choosing to align with the US, which may force British companies to exclude Chinese products from their supply chains. Chen Shimin commented, "Through the signing of such a tariff agreement, it creates significant containment of China's entire manufacturing industry. This is already quite obvious." Yesterday, the Trump administration also announced that for all Huawei products, if used by any other country worldwide, the US government may impose sanctions on them. This clearly shows that the tariff war currently being pushed by the Trump administration is, in fact, aimed at China. In response to Beijing's strong accusations, the UK government stated that the agreement is in the national interest. The Chinese Communist Party is the UK's fifth largest trading partner. In 2024, bilateral trade reached £98.4 billion. The US-UK Trade Framework Agreement will squeeze Chinese goods out of the UK's supply chains, further exacerbating the struggles of China's export industry, which is already battered by high US tariffs. Thanks for being with us here at New Century. Don't forget to subscribe and share your perspective in the comments. Until we meet again, stay informed and stay safe.